absolute. Every time he spoke, the others listened, snapping to attention, nodding without hesitation. Control. Undisputed. His second-in-command, a bearded man with a scar slicing down his cheek, stood nearby, scanning the room like a hawk. Not just watching, studying. Then, the leader's radio crackled. A voice on the other end. Urgent. His expression darkened. Without a word, he handed the radio to his second-in-command, then turned and strode toward the exit. The door shut behind him. Nate exhaled slowly. Now, the room had changed. Because the second-in-command, he was sharp, but he wasn't him. And that meant, there was a crack in the chain. But Nate wasn't watching him. He was watching the youngest one. Nervous hands, unsteady grip on his rifle, weight shifting from foot to foot. Every few seconds, his eyes flicked toward the second-in-command, not for orders, but for reassurance. He didn't belong here. And that meant, he was the weak link. Nate nudged Ryan's foot. Barely. Just enough to get his attention. Ryan's glare was instant, sharp, but Nate wasn't looking at him. Instead, he nodded subtly toward the young terrorist. Ryan followed his gaze. For a second, nothing. Then, a flicker of understanding. Shifted, just slightly. His eyes lingered on the trembling grip, the darting glances, and when he looked back at Nate, it wasn't anger anymore. It was something else, recognition. They had an opening. And for the first time, Ryan Carter saw it too. But knowing wasn't enough. Nate needed a plan, a way to test the waters. Watch this, he muttered under his breath. Ryan didn't reply, but he didn't stop him either. Progress. Nate turned to Marcus, out of his element in a way none of them were. The kind of guy who had always relied on money and status, neither of which meant anything here. Hey, Nate whispered. You scared? Marcus snapped his head toward him, eyes flashing. Are you? Of course, I'm scared, you idiot. Nate smirked. Perfect. Then act like it, he said. Louder. Marcus blinked. Froze. What? But then he saw it. The angle. The play. He hesitated, almost refused. Then, slowly, he nodded, and he played his part. He let out a shaky breath, made his voice tremble. I don't want to die, man. I don't want to die. Heads turned, including the young terrorists. His grip on his rifle shifted, just slightly. Nate saw it. Hook, set. Now, he just had to reel him in. The young terrorist shifted his weight. His grip on the rifle was too tight, fingers tense around the trigger, trying to look in control, failing. Nate leaned forward, lowering his voice just enough. You don't want to be here, do you? The terrorist's eyes snapped to him. Sharp, defensive, but uncertain. That was the key. I don't know what they told you, Nate continued, steady, casual, deliberate. But you're in way over your head. It's not gonna end the way you think. The young man stiffened. A quick breath, a tell. Shut up, he muttered. Nate shrugged, unbothered. In control. I'm just saying. His gaze flicked to the gun, then back to the kid's face. You don't look like a killer to me. That did it. For a split second,